Hey guys, it's Tina. I'm going to do a quick little Oathbringer book chat. I'm just going to go through my likes and dislikes. I'm not going to do a summary. It's the third book in the series. This is not spoiler free. This is going to be full on spoilers. So if you have not read this book, probably shouldn't stick around. Brandon Sanderson absolutely knows how to write characters and absolutely knows how to make you fall in love with characters. That is just amazing to me because I'm a very character driven reader. If you make me fall in love with your characters, you could have a really crappy plot and I am going to love your book. I loved all of the different point of views that we got in this book. We got more from Bridge 4. We even got to read a couple of chapters from a bunch of Bridge 4's point of view. I think we got Lopin, Rock, Moash, and then I know we got Teft. And I actually really did enjoy all of those chapters. I know some people didn't enjoy those chapters, but I really did enjoy those chapters. And I really liked diving into those characters and their past and some of them, how they even got to Bridge 4. And so that was a highlight of this book that I didn't get in previous books. I love seeing Lift again. Lift is just a fun comic relief character for me. I am a sucker for kind of juvenile, witty dialogue, and Lift totally provides that for me. So this was Delanar's book, and we got to see his flashbacks and his past. We actually got the name of his wife, and we got to see what a horrible person he was before. And I really enjoyed those chapters. In the last two books, the flashbacks have not been my favorite of the books, but they were necessary and they were interesting, but they weren't my favorite. I always really kind of wanted to get back to the present and see what was happening and, move the story along. But Delanar's chapters, I really enjoyed. I really love when an author can make you love, hate, love a character, or it makes a character so gray that you don't know if he's the good guy or the bad guy or what is even going on. And that is what happened with Delanar. It was so fascinating to see Delanar go from the bloodthirsty, warlord who was a horrible person and just killed without thought and just wanted to be in war, to kind of trying to tip his personality to fit his new wife and her ideals, and but still he was horrible to her, but he kind of was trying to find himself. He kind of was trying, but not really. And then, how he basically killed his wife. And then afterwards, becoming a complete, utter puddle of a human being because he felt so horrible for being a jackass to his wife and then, killing her. And then not being able to handle his life beforehand. So I felt it was interesting to go through all that and basically go through the ups and downs of, maybe Delanar's not a good guy, but he was, an honorable guy in the first two books and went by the codes and all that stuff. So do you just dismiss the first two books and then now feel that he's kind of a horrible person and maybe I shouldn't root for him? Or what do you do with this new information? Do I want Delanar to win? Do I not want Delanar? I still honestly don't know what I want to do or if I even want to root for Delanar. And that makes me love that character more. So in the last two books, Delanar was not necessarily my favorite character. Delanar was not a character that I was super excited to read from. Delanar was just a necessary means to, interesting kind of, because he had the whole mystery wife thing going, means to move the plot along and to get to where we want to go. But in this book, it made me really intrigued and really want to know more about Dalinar and make me feel like his character has more weight and I care about him more. And I really love Navani, and I think we should get more from Navani. I really want her past and her past with the king and all of that. So I think that would be pretty interesting to see how she became, or if she was always this strong woman. But I really like Dalinar and Navani together. I think that is a good character match. That was super satisfying to see them get married in this book and to see them together. I'm really happy that the love triangle is done. I did not like the love triangle. That totally annoyed me in this book, but I'm really happy that the love triangle is done. If it continues in the next book, I'm really going to be ticked off. And this may be an unpopular opinion, but I really like Moash. I really like him as a character. Loved Ellikar's death scene. I really love scenes like that bring out emotion. Like when Kaladin was sitting there in like a daze. He was having a moment and he failed to save Ellicar. But Moash comes and kills Ellicar and then gives him the Bridge 4 salute. You're just like, ooh, to Moash. And I love characters like that. And I want to see where this goes. I hope we're going to see more from Moash because he's working more on the Proshendi side of things. And then the next book is from the Proshendi side. And I'm actually pretty excited to read from their perspective and their point of view, especially with the end of this book and us learning that really the humans came and kind of took over the land, and maybe the humans are the bad guys in the situation, and maybe they're not just fighting for the land and the Proshendi was originally their land. I am really interested to see and read the next book to see the other side of things. So let's move more into my dislikes. I didn't like that we didn't get much from Yesna. I really would have liked if we got more chapters from Yesna and Navani's POV. I know we got a little bit more from Navani this book and I think in previous books, but I still am not satisfied with how much we get from Yesna. She is such an interesting character and she is such a strong character that I don't think we get enough of her in these books. I really didn't like Shallan's multiple personalities. I really struggled with that, and that pulled me out of the story more than it interested me. I enjoyed reading when she went on her little adventures. I enjoyed the little adventures. I enjoyed how she handled the little adventures. And the multiple personalities wouldn't have been so bad if it wasn't constantly comparing all of these sides of her in her head all the time. Like, Vale would do that. No. I think was the other one Radiance? I think the other one? I can't remember what the third one. There's Vale, Shallan, and the third name. I can't remember. I think it was Radiance. I'm not 100% sure. But she would constantly say, oh, Vale's this, or Shallan's this, or I think Radiance this. Oh, no, Vale likes Cal, and Shallan loves Adolin, and whatever. I didn't like that inner monologue at all. I didn't mind that she switched into Vale to get a job done, and I didn't mind that she maybe had this thing, but I didn't like the constant comparing of who did what, who was what personality. Every time we read from her POV, multiple times. The last thing that bugged me, but I have not heard anybody talk about it, and probably it's not something that has maybe even thought about, or maybe it is, but Tef's point of view and Tef's addiction. So what bugs me is not Teft or his inner monologue or from his point of view. What bugs me is that when you have somebody that has an addiction, it doesn't just affect the person that has the addiction. It affects everybody around that person with the addiction. And it seemed like Bridge 4 was just okay with it, or it didn't really affect him. Yeah, there was a couple of scenes, or there was a couple of times that it was written that they had to go get him, or they paid his tab, or whatever. But it didn't show the impact of Tef's addiction on Bridge 4. And there's an impact, or there should be an impact, especially since Teft is the person that trains them. Like, he's not a low bridgeman that no one's gonna notice is gone. He trains them. So now they're not getting trained by their trainer and he's completely missing, or they have to go get him. That's going to negatively impact the troops under you if a leader is dealing with that kind of stuff. And I didn't see any impact. It didn't seem like Bridge 4 was affected by this. Now, maybe this progresses in the next book and this becomes a little bit more of a storyline, and then I'm completely wrong about this. But it even says in there, like there's a line in there where he's talking about how he still has the urges to use, but he is saying all the right words to people and making all the right noises and blah, blah, blah. But if somebody's been around somebody with an addiction long enough, there's a point where the person with the addiction thinks they're saying all the right words and thinks they're making all the right noises. And the person who they're communicating with knows that they're full of crap. The person with the addiction thinks that they're getting away with it, but the person on the other hand knows that they're not getting away with it. I just kind of think that this addiction is written kind of stereotypical, because when I see stories about addiction, it's always about the person who has the addiction, and it's never about the family or the people around it that are negatively affected or are being brought down, or their life is now being set into a spiral of chaos because of the one person that has the addiction, which I think we should have seen some of that in this storyline. I feel that Delinar's storyline showed more of what a true addiction storyline would look like than Tef's. Delinar's storyline showed, people enabling him. They showed people taking alcohol away from them, or people constantly checking on him. I know we saw from Adelin's point of view how he just kind of defended his dad and how they tried to protect him a little bit from other people and what they're saying and accusing him of being, a drunk and all of that stuff. I think that storyline showed more of what an addiction could do to an entire family unit than what Tef's has done. Teft is the addiction storyline. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I know that I've seen on Reddit that people who have suffered from addiction say that Tef's inner monologue and thoughts ring true, and I'm not debating any of that. I'm just a little disappointed that Bridge 4 seemed to be perfectly fine with one of their leaders having addiction and relapsing a couple of times and not having any trust issues or second thoughts about Bridge 4 or anything negative. And that's pretty much it. I would say Oathbringer so far is my least favorite book of the three. I still really enjoyed it and happy that I read it and got a lot of fun out of it, but I just have a few criticisms. And that's it. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you thought about Oathbringer. If any of the same things that I have criticisms on, do you have the same criticisms? Or did you perfectly love everything? Or maybe I missed something. Let me know in the comments below. Bye. what happened? Or that's going to have a negative impact